Good morning. It is Wednesday, April 14th. Back in the garage today, as is seems like every day now. I don't know how many days in I am on this project. Today, the plan is to get new rear brake shoes put on. They really don't need it necessarily based on wear. As you can see, there's quite a bit of material left there. However, on the other side, I replaced the rear wheel bearing and I did a not great job. It's one of the few jobs that I've done myself that I failed at. To put it simply, I just didn't have the right tools to do it properly. So I had that done. So basically what I'm getting at is when the bearing leaked, or the seal rather, leaked, it leaks into the drum and there's just oil and brake dust built up now. So these pads are shot. They just got soaked in oil from the differential. So that's why I'm replacing the brakes today. All right, new shoes are on. I already finished the passenger side. I've done these rear drums on this particular vehicle now a few times, but it always feels like a learning experience. Figuring out how the springs, what order to take things off, what's the best way to get things on and off, really. A little bit of a close-up of brake pads, how they look when they get coated with oil, and then driven for a couple thousand miles. So basically what happened, I was driving from Ohio to Oregon and back in order to pick up my storage, pick up all my stuff that was in a storage unit, and the rear axle leaked on my way there. The seal leaked, so I got it repaired while I was in Oregon in Bend, and we cleaned the brakes really well after he fixed the seal. However, I didn't want to put brand new pads in if it was just going to leak again, and I wasn't seeing it start to leak until after several hundred to 1,000 miles or so. So I just decided to run them. Just have to get the drum here cleaned up a little bit. It's been sitting for a while, so there's a little bit of surface rust buildup, so I'll clean it. And once that gets back on, I am going to do a complete brake flush as well as a clutch flush. I have 2 brand new bottles of dot fluid, so got to get rid of it. So the brake flush is done. Used about the whole big jug. I think it's a 32-ounce container. Now I'm gonna go and do the clutch, which I've not done before, so this is gonna be a learning experience for both of us. Fluid is still pretty black. I don't know if that's ever been changed. So I got a bit of a mess on my hands right now, so I'm gonna put the camera down. So I sucked up a little bit of what was in the reservoir, put the cap back on because I topped it up with some fresh dot fluid. So I'm over here on the passenger side and we'll get a light going here. So I've got, this is, if anybody has watched Chris Fix, his YouTube channel, this is the bottle that he shows you how to make if you are needing to do a brake bleed by yourself. And it turns out that it can be a little bit faster to do it by yourself than with 2 people. So I'm doing the same thing with the clutch. So we've got the line, this hose is connected to, you can see inside there, my flare nut wrench is blue and it's sitting on the line right now getting ready to crack that open. So once I crack that open, I will go into the driver's seat and pump the clutch a number of times. And what I'm actually doing with the GoPro, since it has the ability to wirelessly stream to my phone, I'm setting the GoPro up over here so that I can watch the line. So I can see if there's bubbles, I can see the color, see how dirty it is, see when it changes to the more clear-ish new dot fluid. I forgot that the clutch actually works a little differently. Once I crack the bleeder valve on the brakes, I can go into the driver's seat and just pump the brakes a whole bunch of times, however many I need, obviously before running out of fluid. But with the clutch, I can't do that because I need the valve to be shut after I press the clutch to in. So what I'm doing instead of getting another person, which I could do, but it's always fun to try and figure out how to do as much as you can by yourself. So I've got this area lit up a little better so you can see. So this is the fork that throws the clutch. So I am just pressing it in. It's pretty easy. Not easy, but it's not hard. So just pressing that in, then I'll crack and press it in, hold it, then I crack the bleeder valve while I'm still holding this in. Just leave it open for a few seconds, and then I shut it and then release, and I do that a couple times. Because the reservoir in the slave cylinder is really small, I could be calling this wrong. I don't know if it's a slave cylinder. Again, not a mechanic. Anyway, the reservoir for the clutch is really small, so I'm only getting about maybe 2 to 3 pumps before I am topping it up again, just so it doesn't get too low. So I've already done about 6, and the fluid was black when I started, and it's getting there. We're getting clearer. So I'm gonna do probably a couple more pump and refills, and this should be about it. And also, while I'm in here, I ordered this. I'd noticed this a while ago, but the boot here is torn. So I'm going to, I already ordered one, so I have it. So I'm just gonna pull this guy out, and it doesn't look like, I've never removed one of these before, but it doesn't look too bad. Once you press this in, there's a pin inside of this rubber boot that is not connected to this piece right here. So I can push this and the pin in and then pull this piece back, and then I can slide this over. So it shouldn't be too bad to get out and get the new one in. I had ended up having one of my brothers come and help. Basically, I'd have him press and hold. I'd crack the line, let it squirt out, close the valve, and then have him pump the clutch a few times to repressurize it, and then do the same thing over and over and over. And we probably did, I don't know, 10 or so before the line started flowing much, much cleaner. So that's that. All right, that new boot is in. Much better. Pretty easy, just as I suspected. I just press this in, and then you can kind of get your finger in there and press that piston down a bit more, just enough to slide the boot out and off, and then get the new one slid on. That's done. One other thing that I wanted to do is my clutch has, the clutch pedal itself actually has a squeak to it, and I'm led to believe that it's a little bushing, little plastic bushing that wears out in there. So I have ordered that already. I have it. I've had it for 2 years. I think at one point I looked into changing it out, and it was just too much of a pain at the time because I was using it as a daily driver and didn't have a garage space to work on it. So it's just an awkward position to be in because you have to get up underneath the dashboard. So I will look into doing that here since I have a garage and it's up. So decided to give the clutch pedal bushing an attempt. Couldn't find anything in the service manual about doing this particular job. So there's no blown apart diagram in the manual, and I don't even think that the bushing that was there, I don't think it's there anymore, so I'm not entirely sure where it goes. This is what it's supposed to look like. So the only two places I can really see that it might be, and I doubt it's this first one. It would be this lower position or up inside of here somewhere. This guy will be pretty easy to get out. It's just a cotter pin. Pull that out. And then this one, this top one, so this nut is welded there. I don't know why they did it that way. The other nut's on the other side, which is extremely hidden. So if I can't get that one loose, then this might not be happening. What did I get myself into? At least I think I found it. I know I found it. So here's one of the original ones. It doesn't look too bad. It does have a score in the center of it. You can kind of see that does not appear to... No, these ones have it. It's just dirty and pronounced. I could kind of feel the wings of the other side, but the clutch pedal's stuck in here still. So I disconnected the pin that came through there, and unfortunately, because the bolt's on the other side, I had to use a ratcheting 14mm wrench, and for a second there I got it stuck. So the bolt, got the bolt all the way free, and the bolt came out, and then the wrench dropped on top of the shaft of the bolt. So it was kind of stuck in there for a little bit, but I finally managed to get that out, and now it's just a matter of, because the bolt doesn't have enough room to go that way to get all the way out, so I was able to kind of wedge it this way, and that little bushing goes right inside of there, so the other side receives the second one. So now I'm gonna just keep finagling this. Okay, that really wasn't too bad. I think it's gonna just be a complete pain in the butt to go back in. So here we go. Clutch is out. So this is a rod that goes in the center of that, and then it receives the two bushings. So this doesn't, I mean, it doesn't look good. It's got, you know, some corrosion on there. Or not corrosion, it's plastic, but you know, it's rust from the metal piece. So I'm gonna clean this guy up, some steel wool, and I'll lube it and throw everything back together, and hopefully I can get the thing back in. I'll show the space with everything out except that bolt, which is just hanging in there right now. All right, there we go. So that's the bolt up there, the 14mm, and as you can see, I mean, I can get it out now because it's able to be angled the opposite direction, but when there's a solid piece in here, it's just yeah, not fun. Ugh. Oh, my back hurts. Not getting too far. Getting this pedal back in. This is as far as I've gotten it. So it'll go in about that much, but I still need to get it in between this flange right there. So I'm gonna call it for right now, and I will look into seeing if somebody else has done this and has some tips on other things to remove, or just an easier way to get it in there. It wasn't too bad to get out, and the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, I know this is gonna be so much harder to get back in. And yeah, lo and behold, I don't know how long I've spent on it, but I think I'm ready to eat some food and not work on my truck for a little while.